All right, let's dive right in. This week, the Sri Lankan stock market wasn't just bullish, it was an absolute stampede. We're going to break down all the key numbers behind this huge surge for the week ending October 17th.
So, the big headline number you need to know. The All-Share Price Index, the ASPI, it didn't just climb this week, it absolutely soared. It closed out at a really powerful 22,633.80 points.
Now, to put that in perspective, that's a really confident leap from last week's close. It tells us there's a serious wave of positive momentum building up. So the big question is, what's fueling this fire?
Okay, first up, let's take a look at this week's market snapshot. We're going to look at the total activity, kind of like the engine room, It gives us a real sense of the energy and the volume we're dealing with.
And wow, the market was absolutely buzzing. We saw a massive 37.2 billion rupees in total turnover for the week. But the total number is only half the story. The real story is, who was making all these big moves?
So, who was driving the market? To really get what's going on, you got to look at the key players. Was this an international story, or was it a local one?
And well, this chart tells a really clear story, doesn't it? Look at this. Domestic investors were the undeniable force here. They accounted for nearly 35 billion rupees in purchases alone. Foreign investors, they were there, for sure, but their participation was just a tiny fraction of the total action.
So, let's be super clear about this. The takeaway here is that local investors were the dominant force this week. This wasn't some wave of foreign cash flooding in. This was pure, homegrown optimism. So, with all that confidence in the air, let's see which companies rode that wave right to the top.
All right, time to look at the week's top movers. You know how it is. In any big market surge, you're going to have your winners and, well, your losers. So let's drill down and see who the real stars of the show were and who got left behind.
So, which companies really stood out from the crowd this week? Let's dig into the ones that turned some heads with their crazy performance.
And wow, what a list. Just look at this. Mercantile Investments absolutely led the pack with an incredible 125% jump in a single week. That's a massive move. And right behind them, you've got really strong performances from Asia Capital, up over 93%, and Harishchandra, gaining more than 71%. Just incredible.
But of course, it wasn't all good news. For every high, there's usually a low. On the flip side, Pan-Asian Power really felt the sting, dropping over 12%. And you can see a few others there, like Luminex and Kalani Cables, also had a pretty tough week with some significant pullbacks.
Okay, so a single week is interesting for sure, but it's just one snapshot in time. To really understand what's happening, we need to zoom out and look at the big picture.
And when we look at the last 4 weeks, you can see this isn't just some random one-off spike. Trading activity has been consistently strong, and this week, hitting that peak at 37.2 billion rupees, that suggests that investor confidence isn't just holding steady, it's actually growing. But the really dramatic view comes when we zoom out, even further, and look at the entire year. Just look at that climb. The index has been on a relentless upward path since January. It really paints a picture of a market with incredible, sustained strength.
How strong? We're talking a staggering 41.95% gains so far this year. Think about that. This isn't just a market that's doing well. This is a market that is on fire. And it's all fueled by that powerful, homegrown confidence from local investors we were talking about earlier.
All right, so let's get to the bottom line. After crunching all these numbers and looking at all the trends, what are the key things you really need to take away from this week?
Okay, it really boils down to 3 key things. First, that positive momentum we're seeing, it isn't just continuing. It feels like it's actually accelerating. Second, and this is crucial, this whole charge is being led almost entirely by domestic investors. It's their confidence driving the bus. And third, this week is just another high point in what has been a truly remarkable year for the market.
So, that leaves us with a really big question looking forward. After such a strong week and an even stronger year, can the market really maintain this upward momentum? It seems like the final quarter of the year is going to be the true test.